Well, here we are at the 300 subscriber questions and answers of the questions you guys put in the last questions part of the actual Q&A. If you have not seen that, I recommend go and see that first to get a little bit more context, but honestly, you don't need to. So, moving right along, we will read these comments out in no particular order. Zero Nitro Man's comment is, congrats on 300. Uh-oh. Questions. Here we go. Thank you for the congrats, Zero Nitro Man. First question. What's the most fun recording project of yours so far? The most fun I think I've had on a recording project would have to be the Fallout Equestria The Last Day kind of reading I did, even though it wasn't really a reading. That one was almost completely ad-libbed. I thought up of kind of a little storyline in my head, and then I ad-libbed the rest of it. And it was a lot of fun just coming up during the recording, coming up with random ideas and just saying them and piecing it together and putting it together. And I thought it was a lot of fun to kind of gather the sound effects as well and make it into like a first-person view almost, a first-person listening view, or whatever you would even call that sort of video. And it was, I would say that was one of the most fun ones I've done so far. 2. Your favorite video game genre? I do not have one, actually. Nothing in particular. I'm a big fan of RTS, like real-time strategy games, but they're not something I play at a constant. It's certain games are on and off for me all the time. At the moment, I'm playing a game called Mordhau, and that is a ton of fun. It's like a first-person medieval combat sort of game. Kind of like Chivalry, except just better in every way, in my opinion. Other than that, I play the game for how fun it is to me. It's not necessarily the genre that makes it fun for me. 3. Your thoughts about midgets, like me. My thoughts about midgets? Well, nobody is necessarily a midget around me. It's more like I'm kind of absurdly tall for some people when I'm around them. I'm like 6'4" or 191 centimeters tall or something like that. And so when people are around me, or when people compare their heights to mine, they're like, wow, I'm a midget. And I'm like, well, I mean, you're probably just average. I'm just a lot taller. Anyways, thank you for the comment, Zero Nitro Man. And moving on. Next comment is by Hipcrab. What stories have you planned to read in the future? Well, I'd say my next kind of quote-unquote big one, not really, it's like 5 chapters long, but it's more than a one-shot, so I consider that big. But I have a few more one-shots here and there, but the next big story I would say would be a story by Gamma Decay called Fallout Equestria Silver Nocturne. I'm not going to describe what kind of story it is, but that is the next story I'm doing. After that, I think I'm probably going to be doing KCAT's other story they've made called Origin Story, and it's a prequel to Fallout Equestria, the original Fallout Equestria. Not necessarily canon, can be canon if you want it to be. So they said. At least I think they said. I'm just going off from what my memory is. I don't know. But that is my next one I'm thinking of doing after Fallout Equestria Silver Nocturne. After that, I have a couple ideas, but I have to kind of organize them and talk to the people who I'm doing them for first, before I start making solidified plans. And thank you for the comment, Hipcrab. On to the next question. This question is by... Congrats, man. It's amazing to see you grow this channel up to what it has become. Thank you. So on to the question segment. What are your plans for the channel, and where do you plan to extend your operations with it? Like projects and stuff. My plans for the channel are just kind of to continue going. I've never really had a plan to begin with, except to just kind of find stories, smaller stories, and post them on the internet. That was the original plan. It goes a little deeper than that, but that's the basis of it. But I would like to eventually get bigger, I guess, but that's totally up to the people who watch my stuff. As to where I extend the operations with it, I'm assuming you mean by like collaborations or something, or like something like that, maybe? I don't know. But I plan to extend my operations
all over the globe and take it over.
The next question is, also, if you could travel to any destination, fictional or otherwise, what would it be? Well, I'll tell you one place I wouldn't go, and that's the Warhammer 40k universe. That's a big no. It sounds awesome, but you'll always end up dying. It doesn't matter who or what you are. But anyways, where I would want to go, fictional or otherwise, I mean, this is pretty normal, I guess, if you're a brony, but I mean, going to Equestria would be pretty cool. I mean, depending, I guess. Like, am I a pony or not? Blah, 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 blah. But, other than that, just pretty much anywhere that's a little more interesting than Earth. Because it's, pretty boring sometimes. Sometimes it gets exciting, but, you know, it'd be a different spin on life if I went somewhere that was just not Earth. So yeah, let's just go with Equestria. That'd be cool. Thank you for the question. And on to the next one. The next question is by Comic Sans Pony, and their questions are, what is your name? It is Forrest McGilvray, son of the McGilvray household. What is your quest? To become a professional voice actor. What is the airspeed velocity of an unladen swallow? What do you mean? African or European swallow? Thank you, Comic Sans Pony, for your comment. And on to the next one. Next comment is by Penguin Gunner Productions. First question. Are you a happy pony? A majority of the time, I would say. But, you know, everyone has their off days. Next question is, would you read me a story, oh whoa? Of course I would read you a story, woo. Serious questions. Why did you want to start reading/narrating? Was it a quick choice, spur of the moment, or was it planned? What got me to start reading/narrating was a bit of a story. To put it in a quick perspective, one of my friends said I have a nice sounding deep voice and I should go into choir in grade 12. So I did. And then my other friend who was in choir with me, well, actually two of my friends wanted me to go in choir, but one of those friends, when we were done choir, said, you have a really good voice, why don't you do voice acting? And it was just a for fun question. And then I thought to myself, I mean, why not, right? So then I just, decided, well, there was also inspiration from another channel called Crazed Ramblings. And that was where I kind of got the inspiration from to start reading/narrating what I do now. Because when he stopped, I was really sad that he stopped. And I was like, dang, you know what? Maybe I should continue his legacy, quote unquote. But as for if it was a quick choice, spur of the moment, or planned, I would say it was kind of planned when I got inspiration for it. It was a quick plan, though, so it's kind of a mix of both. Next question. Are there any stories you decided not to read? What were they, and what made you not read them? Most of the stories that I've seen, at least, are, I have a criteria I like to follow on whether it's a story I will read or not. So this kind of filters out what I won't read and what I will read. The biggest one that makes me not read someone's story, with the exception of one of the stories I read, I think it was Imperium. But the biggest one that makes me not read a story and record it is whether it's finished or not. If a story is not finished and hasn't been updated in more than a year, or more than 2-3 years, I don't even bother reading it, because it may be a great story, but it has no ending, and that's what I can't stand. I do not want to read another story on my channel that does not have an ending to it. I do not like that. With the one exception that there was an author that came up to me and asked if I could read his story, and it wasn't finished, but he said everything was done, it just needed to be edited and posted. And so I said, okay. And I did. As I made them, he posted them and updated them, and I read them. And it was done. I think the story was called Imperium. Or it was something else. I don't know. To answer the rest of the criteria, the other criteria is which is a soft one. It's not a hard criteria on the list. But if the story chapters are way too long, with the exception of some stories that might be coming out later down the road. If it is a very, very long chapter, I'm not going to be reading it in one go, let alone 2 or 3. It'll take much longer than 1 week to upload, because it takes me In total, I think it takes me 4 to 5 hours to read, record, and edit 5,000 words. So then do the math from there. If I wanted to read one chapter of Murky Number 7, a chapter average being 30,000 words, that would take me a rough average between 30 to 35 hours to read and record 30,000 words of one chapter of Murky Number 7. And then the last criteria is Clopfics. I do not want to read Clopfics. It's just something I don't want to do. I don't mind if there's like sex scenes in stories that I read. That just kind of happens. As long as it's not explicit and it's not porn. It's not meant to make you feel good. It's not meant to bring out the senses. That kind of thing. I do not want to read Clopfics at all. I don't mind if people read them. That's fine. I personally just feel weird reading them. Next question. A side hobby of voice/narration might get you some extra money doing commissions. Would you consider something like that? Yes. Yes, I would. If somebody wanted to pay me to do something, like if they paid me to record a story to put on my channel, I would do it. Commissions I would love to do. It's just I don't think I have the audience to even ask yet. So I don't know if it would be worth it. It all depends though. I would love to do commissions for people, like voice act for people, like all that sort of thing. I'd love to. It's all part of the road that I kind of eventually want to get down to, but that's a while from now, so I'm not worrying about it yet. Next question. God, I wish this piece of trash uploaded more often than once a week. I know, right? Oh man, if I didn't work and I got paid from recording stories for you guys, I would be able to post once every 2 to 3 days, and it would be awesome, and I would love it. The problem is I'm not getting paid, and I don't expect to be paid ever, so maybe. Might happen down the road, but very doubtful. Congrats on hitting 300 subs. Thank you very much. And that's the end of all those questions. Thank you for the comment, Penguin Gunner Productions, and we will move on to the next one. This comment's by Uncriticalized. Are traps gay?
Yes.
Next question is by Fractured Hearts. Question. Okay, here we go. AR or AK? Out of those two assault rifles, I would personally go for the AR. But I know people are like, oh, but the AK is so much better. You're not wrong. It's better in some aspects. But I have more than a year of experience on an assault rifle platform of the AR-15, more than I do the AK-47, which I've never shot, ever. I have no experience with it. I also prefer the AR because of the smaller round. Some people like the AK more for the bigger round, but I like the smaller round because you can, there's less recoil, there's less kick. So you can maintain your accuracy and take shots faster, more accurately, in my opinion. Obviously, it depends on skill, but if I picked up an AR, shot a bunch, and I picked up an AK and shot a bunch, I'd be much more accurate with the AR, without doubt. But that's just my opinion. Next question is, Bowie or Kukri? This comes down to more experience, once again. I really like the Bowie look. The Bowie look, it's just a beautiful knife. But I have a Kukri next to my bed, and I personally like the longer length of a Kukri compared to a Bowie knife, and its chopping capabilities compared to the Bowie. You can't chop a very big piece of wood with a Bowie, while a Kukri you can slam it into a piece of wood and get a rock and slam it on top of the Kukri and cut a piece of wood in half, and not feel bad. They're what I think are workhorse knives, rather than a Bowie, which is more of a pretty knife, in my opinion. So I'm going to have to go with the Kukri. Next question is, in the thankfully soon upcoming zombie apocalypse, would you want a bow and arrow or suppressor 22 caliber? This is a hard question. If I were to pick between the two, it all depends on the situation. Am I like pretty much the only one left in the world? Like I would never encounter raiders, like people who are still alive and trying to raid my materials and like supplies and whatnot, and they're pretty much only zombies? Or is it kind of a half-half where it's like there's some zombies, but there are also some people who will try to rob you, that sort of thing? If it was just zombies, and I pretty much had to worry about no one, everybody was either nice or they just didn't exist anymore, I would go with the bow and arrow. Because the bow and arrow, as much as a 22 caliber suppressor sounds really quiet, it is not. It is still a crack. it still cracks. It all depends on the actual ammo you have, which makes the th rather than a k kind of thing. But the bow and arrow is just dead quiet. You can't hear a bow and arrow from more than 50 feet. Like, at most. This is worst case situation. You would not hear a compound bow and arrow from more than 50 feet. And I have experience with a bow and arrow, and I can hit targets at like 30, 50 yards pretty easily in the head within that kind of accuracy. But if there were a lot of people that are not immune to pain, a suppressor 22 would be a really good idea because you can hit someone in the leg and they would just not fuck with you anymore. And they'd just be out of there. You have a gun, they know you have a gun, they'd be out. They wouldn't even try to attack you anymore if you're really accurate with it as well. Anyways, on to the next question. How do you look in a miniskirt? I don't know. Never actually worn one, believe it or not. Probably pretty bad. Just gonna go with that. Next question is, beer? I prefer hard liquor over beer. Just because it's, I like to say tastier, but it all depends. I'll have beer. Like, beer is something I'll drink every once in a while when I'm at a friend's or something. But something that I keep personally in my cabinets are whiskey. I prefer whiskey over beer. Next question is, great taste or less filling? Out of these two questions, I prefer great taste over less filling. Because great taste is very tasty and more filling than less filling, I'm assuming. So it does both jobs, which I like. It tastes great and it fills me up. Over tastes not as great and is less filling. So, in my mind, I would pick great taste way more over less filling. Thank you, Fractured Hearts, for the questions. And we will move on to the next ones. The next question is again by Hipgrab. When will you start reading Murky Number 7? Sadly, it's not a when, it's an if. It's an if I will start reading Murky Number 7, and I will explain. The problem about it isn't me reading it, it's the author. I have sent a message quite a while ago, and I said, hey, can I read your story? Is that all right? Trying to get confirmation. And they said, yes, that's totally fine. But then they said, I'll be doing like a redux, not a redux, but like a touch up on it, or a fix up on it that removes some of the just parts that shouldn't be in there in the first place and adds a couple more interesting things in there. So it's a little bit of a change up. And I was like, okay, I'll wait. That's totally fine. And they said it would be out by the first 3 months of this year. And at the moment, he hasn't gotten back to me. I've sent him 3 more messages asking, when is it going to come out? When can I start recording? And they still haven't gotten back to me. So it's an if at this point, which sucks because I really want to do a reading of Murky Number 7. I really hope it will happen, but I don't want to be reading the old one and then halfway they update all the chapters and then I'm reading the other half in the new one. And I'm like, oh no. Yeah. So I'm still going to wait on that. But when it does get updated, I will most likely start recording it. Almost immediately. Almost. Anyways, thank you for the question again, Hipgrab. On to the next one. Next question is by Charles Breeding. You probably already got this question, but what got you into the fandom and what inspired you to start a YouTube channel? I kind of half answered this in one of the other questions, but I'll do it again anyway. So, what got me into the fandom? I haven't answered this part of the question, but what got me into the fandom was in 2012, I don't know what month, but it was sometime during summer. I saw a YouTube video, and it was of Princess Cadance. The thumbnail on the YouTube video was of Princess Cadance with Chrysalis's eyes and green flames around her, and she was smiling maniacally. And I was like, huh, what's this? And didn't say My Little Pony or anything. I think it just said the episode's, title, I think. So I was like, huh, what's this? And I clicked it, and it was 2 minutes long or something, and it was the part when Twilight runs up to Princess Amiamore Cadenza and says, hey, you're not actually Princess Cadance, you're a fake. And then Princess Cadance is like, you're right, but guess what? You won't be able to tell anybody. And then green flames just erupt around Twilight and she gets sucked into the lower part of the castle. And I'm like, what is this? And I did not put 2 and 2 together that they were ponies. I just saw cartoon characters. That's kind of how I see them. So I didn't notice the ears, the horn, Nothing. Even the hooves, like the body shape, nothing. I was just like, oh, it's just a cartoon with colorful characters. I just did not put two and two together for some reason. I'm dumb like that. But when after that scene, when she was laughing and Twilight was getting sucked into the floor, it played like the last little part of that song where it was like, friends, like the last little part of the theme song. And it showed My Little Pony Friendship is Magic. And I was like, what the fuck? So that's when I was like, okay, well, that was weird. And then YouTube started recommending me episodes when they were out on YouTube at the time. Probably not legally, but that's besides the point. I ended up watching them, a couple odd ones here and there, and then I was like, oh, well, I mean, like, might as well start from the beginning, right? Watched the first episode, and then I was like, oh, well, it's a cliffhanger, so I have to watch the second one now. And I watched the second one, then I watched the first season, and then everybody else knows where that road goes to. So that's how I got into the fandom. What inspired me to start a YouTube channel was, again, Crazed Ramblings, who recorded the original Fallout Equestria. I don't know if he was the first one to record Fallout Equestria, but he was the first, in my opinion, quote unquote, high quality one, where he actually put voice effort into the characters. And eventually, later down the road, you could tell his microphone got better, his acting got better, and you could just feel him develop his skills throughout this reading. And I was like, dude, this is great. This is awesome. I love it. I want to do this. When I, heard it at the time. When I was listening to that, he just started the Project Horizons reading, and as soon as I finished that, I started listening to those ones, and then he ended up stopping. And that's what, I was sad. I was like, oh man, I was really excited to, hear the rest of it. And I still, to this day, have not finished Project Horizons. I am 21 chapters in and have not continued from there. I keep on meaning to continue. I can't read it. I need an audiobook of some kind, and people's audiobooks out there just personally don't have the quality he did. Either the accent is too thick, which is fine, but just it puts me off sometimes whenever I'm listening, or the person who's reading it just doesn't put any effort into the voice acting, and that also puts me off. And so I just haven't listened to it since. But he is one of the reasons why I started a YouTube channel to record stories. Yeah. Anyways, thank you, Charles Breeding, for the comment. And on to the next one. Next question is by Mr. Twinkie. When you masturbate, approximately how much cum do you output? Well, if you take a look at my hands and how I'm holding them in a cup form, it's about that much, I would say. So to put that in perspective for you, just take a look. And that's how much. I hope that helped. A continuation of the question is, furthermore, do you lick it off or wipe it on your shorts/underwear? Oh, that's easy. I do neither. I'm not a barbarian. I do it in a more civilized way. But I won't tell you what it is. I'll just keep you thinking. Next question is, also, can you show a picture of how thick your cum is? Thanks. I can't show you a picture, but I'll give you an idea in your head to make it not leave your brain for a while. It's as bad as thick as honey. Mixed in with some milk, probably. But, I'll let you think about that one. Thank you for the question, Mr. Twinkie, as much as it was actually very difficult to read without laughing. But on to the next one. Next question is by BF Draw. 1 inch or 1 centimeter? I'm going to make a small assumption here that this is, do I like the imperial system or the metric system? And preferably, I think I like the metric system a little more because it's just easier to calculate. It also makes my dick seem bigger. I mean, what's more impressive sounding? 1 inch or 2.4 centimeters? Or however the conversion is. I don't know. I'll let you think about that though. Thank you for the question. And on to the next one. The next question is by... I'm not going to pronounce that because I don't know why, but I think I will mispronounce that. I think it's Micah, but could also be pronounced something differently. So you read it yourself. His question is, why even try? The reason I try is because I find it fun and rewarding. When people leave a comment, I love that so much. And I feel like it's a just reward for me, at least, that when people leave good or bad comments or just funny comments, it doesn't matter to me. that I know that people actually watch what I do. And it's such a good feeling that I like to do it again and again and again and again and again. So thank you for your question. On to the next one. Next questions are by Miles Wolf. Do you ever have plans to do a ship reading? I have not planned to do a ship reading because I don't even know what ships people like. I also don't know what the audience would think about a ship reading. I don't know if you guys would enjoy it or not, that sort of thing. So I have no plans to do a ship reading. Next question is, do you approve of ships? I think ships are good. Some of them can be pretty strange and wacky. It's like, why would you ever ship those two characters? And then they come up with one little tiny thing they have in common. And I'm like, oh, well, okay, I guess. But yeah, no, I think I approve of ships. They're not hurting anybody. And people like doing them, so why not let them? Next question is, when did you know you were a brony? I think I kind of already answered that in one of the other questions, but I knew I was a brony back in 2012, or the summer of 2012. That was when I was officially a brony. Next question. What started your narrations? Inspired, or already knew you had the gift? I think I also answered this question, but my friends inspired me to start voice acting and narrating, while Crazed Ramblings inspired me to start a YouTube channel about it. I did not know I had the gift. I still don't think I have the gift, as I don't think natural talent exists, as I think talent is earned through practice and hardship, rather than natural talent where people say, oh, you're naturally talented. No, it's actually just the love for something, to continue doing it and practicing it and getting better. I still don't think I'm good at this at all, but some people think I am, so I continue doing it. Next question. What are your thoughts for My Little Pony Generation 5? I don't have any thoughts about that because I've only heard rumors about it so far and I haven't really dug into it. So I can't give you a straight answer, but out of some of the stuff I heard, it definitely sounds like it's going to be different. That's for sure. It sounds like it's almost like a fan fiction of Generation 4, It just sounds twisted in not necessarily a bad way, but it's definitely going to be different. But other than that, more pony is good for me. Keeps the fandom alive. More artwork, more fan fictions, more animations potentially. It's just more content for me to consume, in my opinion. So yeah, I think it's okay. I guess we'll find out though. Next question. Favorite pony, whether it's background or not. I would have to say Derpy. I really like what they've done with Derpy throughout the years. It's just perfect. Derpy is best background pony. And that is a fact, not an opinion. Next question. Do you prefer Unicorn, Pegasi, or Earth Pony? If it were me becoming one of those, it would, as much as it would be cool to become a unicorn, use magic, shoot fire, blah, 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 or Pegasi and soar up in the air and shit like that, I would rather become an Earth Pony for the sheer reason that it would be so much more incentive to push equestrian technology further. Because becoming an Earth Pony means you can't fly. It means you can't manipulate objects easily. So what would you do about it? Well, in me at least, I would try to invent things to do that. I would try to invent a helicopter-esque thing to match the Pegasi in flying, or planes, or unicorns can manipulate objects super meticulously and easily. So I would try to design some form of hand sort of thing. It would push technology much further if people didn't have the ability to fly or the ability to shoot fire out of their horn. An Earth Pony, to shoot fire, would invent a flamethrower or something like that, right? So it would be much cooler to see how much faster Earth Ponies would be able to push technology than Pegasi or unicorns. So I would prefer becoming an Earth Pony, in my opinion, because I'm already used to being boring anyway. So anyways, next question. What are your plans for your life? What are your plans for future stories? I wouldn't say plans for my life. I'd more put that in the hopes and dreams section of my my file folders in my brain. My hopes and dreams are to become a professional voice actor and make a living off of doing what I do now, as in narration and voice acting. And I would love to make a living off of this channel. I know it's a super far shot, but if I could do this for a living, I would be satisfied with my life, without doubt. Doing this is just so much fun to me. But anyways, what are your plans for future stories? I think I already mentioned it prior, but I'm going to do Fallout Equestria Silver Nocturne next, a few other one-shots in between here and there, and Origin Stories by KCAT. After that, nothing's in concrete planned, so I'll just have to figure it out from there. Next question is, have you ever considered collaborating? Has anyone offered? I've always considered collaborating with people. Every time I've seen a new narrator pop up, or even an older one that has more subscribers, or one that's just popped up, that kind of thing, I usually leave a message like, hey, you want to, I'm a voice actor, I could help you out with a character or two at any point in time. Just feel free to email me or hit me up in my comments section, and I'll get right back to you. And usually they don't reply, or they say, hey, thanks, I'll keep you in mind. But nothing's really come of it, so, shit happens. Has anyone offered me personally? No. No one has offered me to collaborate, sadly. But, once again, I'm a really small channel. No one really notices me, so it's fine. Shit happens. Next question is, are you an in-the-closet brony? I would kind of consider myself an in-the-closet brony, I guess. I mean, pretty much all of my friends know I'm a brony, and yeah, they might not like the show, but they don't mind me. But I don't go just blurting it out to people oh, hey, I just met you. Guess what? I'm a brony. I don't do that to people that I just meet. I usually will like to get to know them first to kind of see their reaction to it, or, to see what they think about it first. But if somebody I think would react negatively to it, I don't tell them. So I guess I could be considered a closet brony in that sense, but I don't just kind of tell people at random, I'm a brony. Do you like Pinkie Pie? Do you like Rainbow? I don't do that sort of thing. I tend to keep it to myself. Next question is, did you dislike My Little Pony when you first heard of it? What made you watch an episode? I didn't really dislike anything. I'm considered to be a extremely easygoing guy who just if you want to do something, I don't judge, sort of thing. You can do what you want. I don't care. As long as you're not hurting others and as long as you're not hurting yourself. That's all I really care about. Oh, and as long as you're not doing anything illegal, that's another thing. As long as you're following those three things, honestly, you can do whatever you want, in my opinion. I mean, there might be a couple, things that you shouldn't be doing, even if it does match all three of those things, but still. I didn't actually end up hearing about My Little Pony until I discovered it, because once again, I'm very oblivious to things. So no, I've never actually disliked MLP and then gave it a chance. I just watched it, and then I liked it, and that was it. But anyways, next question is, what made you watch an episode? I think I already explained this once again, but I just ended up watching an episode. After I discovered it, I was like, whatever. And then YouTube recommended me episodes, and I ended up watching a couple episodes here and there. And then I eventually started from the beginning, watched season 1, watched all of them, blah, blah, blah. And eventually saw the whole thing, I think. Anyways, thank you for your question, Miles Wolf. On to the next one. Next question is by 8 Miles That Way. First question is, what were your thoughts on Season 8 and The Young Six? My thoughts on Season 8, if I can remember, I don't really rewatch episodes of pretty much anything. Even MLP. I've seen a couple episodes twice or 3 times maybe, but I have not seen most of them twice. So out of what I can remember about Season 8, I didn't mind it at all. I personally enjoy whenever more stuff comes out, because sometimes they're creative with it, sometimes they're not, there's the off episode. But the big thing I really like about cartoons is the way they develop their animation and how much better they get at animating. And Season 8 was just an improvement all around. Every season always shows improvement in the animation, and I am a huge sucker for animation. So I'd say season 8 personally was good. I would say it was good, if not great. But if I would go back and watch everything, maybe I'd probably think the writing might be a little off, blah, 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 blah. I get really nitpicky, but so let's just say it was good, in my opinion. My thoughts about the Young Six, I like the direction that they're going, where they are introducing new characters. I always love new characters. The problem is they're not going to be able to do too much with them because the show's ending in season 9. And that really sucks because, like, they could have had their own little offshoot show. They could have had, each episode is 5 minutes, like shorts. They could be off on their own adventures after school. They could grow up. They could be more down to earth than friendship this, friendship that. They could be more like, how your friends treat each other kind of thing. They could be more like, haha, lol, and like laugh at each other and stuff like that. I think it would also be like another introduction into kind of like a friends group sort of show where it's like drama this, some person you started not liking, you stop talking to someone for a long time. It could be, bring up things like that. But I don't think they're going to take the Young Six very far because it's just, there's not enough time. So they're okay. I like them. The character designs are nice. They're not, harmful to the eyes. They're nice to look at. But, yeah, I'd say they're okay in my opinion. Next question is, did you think Cozy Glow was Chrysalis in disguise? No. I thought Cozy Glow was one of those characters at the start. I was like, oh, Cozy Glow is one of those like really grossly, like, I want to get anything I want kind of characters. Oh, that's kind of okay, I guess. I didn't like her at the start. But then I started to realize that she's evil. Like, she was like, oh, getting anything you want easily. And then, like, just the way she tried to coerce people into doing things for her, I was like, yeah, okay, she's evil. Yeah, I know where this is going. I didn't think she was the next bad guy, but until it's really started getting bad, and I was like, man, they're doing quite a couple of episodes about her. And then I was like, oh, man, is she actually the next bad guy? And then she ended up becoming the next bad guy. And I was like, whoa. That's strange. And then they sent her to hell. But anyways, the next question. Do you have a favorite channel of MLP parodies, like Argyle or DWK? I would say DWK is one of the more relatable ones and funniest ones, personally. I really like his comedy. He's just, fuck, man. Like, it's good shit. I love him. Argyle's animations are always top-notch. Like, I love Argyle's animations for the animation. The comedy behind it is also great, but she's really good at animating, and I love to keep up with her stuff, for sure. I do have a couple other ones I like, but I'd need to go back and like find their names and like their recent stuff, blah, blah, blah. But those two that you mentioned are probably two of my favorite, I would say. Next question is, would you agree the show needed more male characters? I don't think it needed more male characters. I would say it could have benefited with more male characters. Maybe not with the main cast. How they have the main six is perfect. I love how they interact with each other. It's great like that. But I think they could have done more with a few more side male characters that were a little more prominent. Like how Spike is kind of a side character, kind of. Like, he doesn't show up in some episodes. He has a couple lines here and there, and there's a few episodes specifically about him. But if there was like a couple more male characters, I wouldn't complain. It would actually bring more variation to adult life, pretty much. Like, you could have adult males and adult females that are dealing with adult things. That would be like, less focused on kid stuff and more focused on real life stuff, but disguised as kid stuff. I think it could have benefited well from it, in my opinion. Next question is, was there ever an episode you haven't watched in the past? I don't know. I really hope not. Maybe one or two. I don't know. I'm pretty sure I watched them all in order, but also I have a really shit memory. So, sucks to be me, I guess, but I'll probably go back and rewatch everything, maybe when the show ends, when it's like done over, I might go back and binge it or something, but we'll see. Next question is, how hard is recording? Recording is not difficult to me. It tends to come naturally, which is nice, but if it's just like reading a story to a kid or an adult or to an audience. You just read. Just read like you would read inside your head, but just speak the words. The hardest thing that comes after recording is editing. It's not hard, it's just long. It takes so long, just so many hours that I just don't want to do of just you're sitting there selecting audio files and whatnot and deleting them. And you're just scrunching everything up from unedited raw mess to a fully completed audio chapter. So editing is the hardest part about what I do, I think. Or not hardest, but it's just the longest. The hardest part I would say is finding sound effects, if I ever do sound effects again. Honestly, I might drop them. But anyways, next question. If you had one wish, what would it be? If I had one wish, I would say... Next question is by Gamma Decay. It only took me a week to figure it out, but I got my question for you. When you are reading a story, watching a movie, or consuming any media for that matter, what is it you most enjoy seeing coming up? Like what puts a smile on your face every time it happens, no matter how many times you experience it? No matter the story, movie, etc. The thing that puts a smile on my face is when Thanos snapped, and something that puts a smile on my face is, in a good and bad way sort of thing, is if let's say someone's a total nice person. Like they're a nice person, they don't expect any rewards, and not many people recognize he's nice, but they're happy with him and he's a nice guy. And then he gets rewarded or something good happens to him, like he gets lucky or something good happens. That puts a smile on my face. Deserving rewards, or when somebody gets what they deserve. And vice versa. If somebody's a total asshole and just some guy's ripping down the road at 100 kilometers an hour and when it's in a 50 zone and then later you see him down the road and he gets pulled over by the police and gets a ticket. That puts a smile on my face. To put the entire thing in one word that puts a smile on my face, it's deserving. Good or bad. If somebody gets what they deserve, what morals think they deserve, then puts a smile on my face. Unless he gets hurt or dies or something, then I'm like, okay, yeah, he didn't deserve that much, but, that sort of thing. Anyways, thank you for the question, Gamma Decay. And that is all the questions I received for this Q&A. Thank you for listening, and thank you so much for leaving me questions to do. This video literally wouldn't exist if you didn't leave any comments or questions. So, thank you very much. And, I hope you got to learn a little bit more about me. Well, I'll stop wasting your time now. This video is going to be a lot longer than I thought, and I'm so sorry for wasting your time. But thank you so much, and have a good day. See ya.